Koe. Nin Daluisi, Holly Mathieson. I'm the music director of Symphony Nova Scotia. We opened the season with Beethoven 5, and at that point I promised you that we would close the season with another one of the incredible Fifth Symphonies, and this is it, Sibelius' Symphony No. 5. It's the first time I've conducted it, and I believe it's the first time that Symphony Nova Scotia has played it. Sibelius wrote in his diary while composing it that it was as if God himself was throwing down pieces of a mosaic and setting Sibelius the task of working out what the pattern was. His response to this seemingly divine interference in his work is one of the most epic of the 20th century symphonies. The version you'll hear in this concert is his final revision of the piece, which he felt was more human and more down to earth. It is one of the most evocative musical depictions of the Finnish landscape. Icy tundra, freezing winds whistling past, incredibly long, late sun in those nightless summers at the north of Finland. And at the apex of the third movement, palindromic horn echoes and pulsating strings grab you by the solar plexus and lift you up into the sky, taking flight in what's affectionately known as the swan theme. If you don't know the piece, take some tissues and someone whose hand you can hold at that point, because it is one of the most emotionally transcendental moments in classical music. To set the scene for the symphony, I want to start with two other great Nordic works, Andrea Tarrodi's Birds of Paradise and Sibelius' Violin Concerto. Both are vast musical landscapes shimmering with the sounds of the land, flora and fauna. Tarrodi's piece is a masterclass in how to write music that is completely still, doesn't go anywhere, and yet holds you completely transfixed with your breath held for the entire piece. She wrote it in response to a BBC documentary about Birds of Paradise, and uses the orchestra in the most incredible ways to recreate the bird song and fluttering wings in the most haunting atmospheric ways. And Sibelius' Violin Concerto is a firm favourite for this audience and audiences around the world. It is the most recorded and performed 20th century violin concerto in the world. It opens with barely audible icy strings from which emerges an agonizing solo violin line that never rests, never finds home, and is always searching. It's a pleasure to welcome Kerson Leong to play it with us. It's sometimes difficult to place Sibelius. Is he a romantic or a modernist? He takes unabashedly romantic material, lush harmonies, big arching melodies, but he layers them in long panels above each other. It was a completely new way of thinking about form and construction at the time. So for me, that makes him a very early modernist, but the language is still the romantic orchestral language that we know and love. The orchestra can't wait to sink their teeth into the piece, and we will have extra strings joining us to get that big, epic 20th century sound on stage. And as a conductor, there are a few symphonic endings more iconic than this one. These huge monolithic chords at the end, like big thunderbolts out of the sky, separated by silence. As a listener, you never know which is the last one. When does this finish? I cannot think of a more gripping way to close the season. We'd like to thank our Spotlight Series sponsor, Jules Chamberlain at Red Door Realty. This concert is part of our new digital series sponsored by Parkland Retirement Living at the Lakes. If you can't join us in person in the concert hall, we would love you to go to our website and find the link to the live stream.